By now, you've heard the stories. Entire departments gutted overnight, with AI supposedly doing the work of hundreds. And if you're only following the headlines, that's where the story ends. But that's barely the surface. You see, IBM, Meta, Microsoft, Google, all of them at some point between 2023 and 2025 cleared out entire departments, thousands of roles gone, and every single one came with the same promise. AI was stepping in, productivity was going up, and the future was brighter than ever. However, here's where things get interesting. And before we get into that, let's look at the paper trail, because if you look closely, you'd realize the first pattern. Take IBM. They froze hiring across 7,800 back office roles and handed the work to AI systems, and it actually held up. The work kept running and the market rewarded them for it. The stocks rose and the day of announcement was brutal. But then came BuzzFeed, and BuzzFeed was already struggling before any of this, revenue falling, newsrooms shrinking, and investors losing patience. Then, in January 2023, their CEO sent an internal memo that leaked within hours. The company was going AI fast. Content generation, quizzes, editorial brainstorming, all of them moved towards algorithms. The internet picked it up immediately. By the end of that trading day, BuzzFeed stocks had risen by 150%. Not because a single AI article had been written, not because the technology had been tested, but just because the words were said out loud. 3 years later, those same shares were a little over 70%. The company posted a $57 million loss and started questioning whether it could actually survive another year. Google followed with the same pattern. 12,000 jobs cut in January of 2023. Stocks closed up over 5% by the end of the day, as well as Microsoft announcing 10,000 cut shortly after, and by mid-year, their stock had climbed nearly 44%. 4 companies, 4 completely different outcomes, but one shared pattern. The moment any of them connected the words AI and restructuring in the same announcement, the market moved. Not after the results came in, not after the technology proved itself, but the day the words were said. And for a lot of people sitting in these boardrooms, that timeline was the whole point. But here's where the story splits into two. On one side, you had the true believers, the companies that genuinely thought the technology was ready. Klarna handed their entire customer service volume to a chatbot, while Duolingo phased out contractors overnight. These weren't stock plays, they actually believed it would work. Klarna's CEO went back to Bloomberg 18 months later and admitted the AI push had destroyed their customer service quality, while Duolingo reversed their AI-first mandate entirely within 12 months. Bloomberg tracked what happened to those roles across the industry, and what they found didn't make it into any of the reversal press releases. Roughly half of all AI-attributed layoffs resulted in the same positions coming back. Just not in the same country and not at the same salary. The person in Dublin got replaced by a chatbot. The chatbot failed, then the role reopened in Manila. Amazon made this impossible to ignore. For years, they marketed their just walk out of technology as a breakthrough in AI-powered retail. Customers could walk into a store, pick up what they needed, and leave without going through a checkout. No cashier, no queues. Pure automation. Then an investigation revealed what was actually powering the system. Over 1,000 workers in India sitting at screens, manually watching camera footage from inside those stores and logging every single transaction by hand. Not AI, people, but just cheaper people in a different country doing the same job that American cashiers used to do. Just invisible. And then there's the other side. The ones where AI was never really the point. For example, Amazon cut 14,000 management roles while Microsoft ran 3 separate waves. 2,000, then 6,000, then nearly 9,000. Meta cut 8,000 positions, and every announcement came wrapped in AI efficiency language. But what analysts found underneath was simpler. Expensive veterans pushed out, while senior roles earning $150,000 replaced by junior hires at half the salary. The AI didn't take those jobs, it was never the intention. And if you need proof, in March 2025, New York State added a single checkbox to their mass layoff filling system. Did AI cause this? Over 160 companies filed notices that year. Not one checked the box. The same executives who blamed AI on the state couldn't say it in writing when the government was watching. When the Writers Guild went on strike in 2023, they made AI the hill they were willing to die on. 148 days on the picket line, the longest Hollywood strike in decades, and they won. Studies now have to disclose when AI-generated material is given to writers, and the technology cannot be used to replace time without negotiation. The Teamsters secured similar languages with UPS. Las Vegas casino workers went further, locking in $2,000 in severance for every year worked if AI eliminated their roles. 3 groups of workers, 3 wins, and they all had one thing in common: collective bargaining rights, a union, some kind of leverage. Tech workers don't. 90% of the US workforce is non-union, and when Microsoft sent those emails, or when Meta announced those cuts, or even when Amazon cleared out 14,000 management roles, there were no picket lines, no negotiations, and it was just an email and a last day. When a company says it's cutting costs, people get angry. Politicians respond, unions mobilize. When a company says AI is transforming its operations, people write essays about the future of work. The outcome is identical, the reaction is completely different. That framing didn't happen by accident, it was intentionally chosen. But here's what's still missing from this conversation. Inside every one of these companies, there were people who knew. Engineers who watch AI tools hallucinate basic output in internal testing, filed it and moved on. Product managers who saw quality metrics collapsing weeks before customer service started complaining. Middle managers who sat in rooms where everyone around the table understood the technology wasn't ready yet, looked at each other and went back to their desk because the announcement had already been made. The stock had already moved, and raising your hand to say it wasn't working was a reliable way to find yourself in the next round of cuts. That silence is part of the story too. The technology itself isn't the problem. IBM's automation held. JP Morgan deployed an AI tool called Coin that reduced 360,000 hours of annual legal contract review down to seconds, with fewer errors than the lawyers it replaced. For structured, repetitive tasks with measurable output, AI delivers. That's documented and repeatable. What was hype was the timeline and the scale. Replacing the entire department of human judgment with a language model in 2023, that was never true. The people who built the technology already knew that. The executive who made the announcement either didn't understand what they were deploying or understood exactly what announcing it would do to their share price. AI will eventually replace a significant portion of what people do today. Scripting, voiceover, basic writing, data processing, you can name it. The direction is real. But the workers who lost their jobs in 2024 didn't lose them to the AI of 2030. They lost them to an announcement about it, made by people who already collected the reward before the results came in. And this cycle isn't slowing down. Microsoft committed $80 billion to AI infrastructure in a single fiscal year, then quietly started walking away from that data center project worth billions. The gap between what they're spending and what they're delivering is the exit chapter of the next story. Smash the like, subscribe, and bell button to be the first for it.